everyone. Caren Glasser here, and welcome to Life Uncorked, Aging Like a Fine Wine. I'm here with Robin Salls. She's the CEO, an entrepreneur, and publisher of Tangled Silver magazine, just to name a few things, because you are very, very versed in so many things. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your story. How did you get to where you are now? Let us know a little bit about Robin Salls.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur. I think when I was born, it was like going to be all over me. Entrepreneur, in some manner or some way or another. I was that little girl that when I was able to babysit, had the babysit book with all the crafts, all the creative stuff, because this was like I had to be the number one babysitter, right? Like the most fun, and it just kind of continued on. I dabbled in a couple things, but I always went back to that entrepreneur spirit. And in 2012, I was really at a place where my daughter was graduating and I needed to make a change. So I thought, I love wine. So I created wine events because there weren't a lot of wine events happening in the city I was in.
Cheers.
Thank you. So we started doing exactly, I mean, Life on Cork, we started doing, it was called Girls Gone Grape, and we started doing wine events. And during that process, I was doing newsletters, and I'm also a writer. And I created my first digital magazine called Sip on Life. And my key with that was I was spotlighting women winemakers because I didn't feel like they were getting enough recognition amongst the winemakers.
Yep.
Fast forward then to 2018, I decided to embrace my gray and silver hair. Was looking around and realizing that there were not any images in my mind that actually spoke to what I thought I could look like letting my hair
Right.
go silver.
Right.
And I was kind of getting frustrated. And so I was just, as I was looking around and COVID happened and my Sip on Life magazine kind of took a back seat because wineries were closed, everything was kind of changing. And
Right.
I found
Right.
myself being so involved in how to help women embrace themselves and celebrate it and not feel like we have to hide underneath our hair color. And
Right.
I just decided I'm gonna put a magazine out that speaks to that, just like I did before. And so I just kind of dove in. I think I made the announcement in December of 2020 that in like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I was, January 15th, I was dropping Tangled Silver magazine. And my husband came upstairs and he was like, "Do you know what you just posted?" I'm like, "I do." And he went, have you even talked to anybody yet? I'm like, "No, but I know all the women I'm going to reach out for this first issue." And he's like, "Oh, here we go again." And he turned
There
and
we
walked
go.
out of the room. I kind of jumped in. I was like, that first issue maybe was not the full height of what I wanted it to be, but I said I was going to do it. And I was like, heck or high water, that was going to happen in January. And so we launched, and we've just gone since
And the
then.
rest and the rest is history, right? And this show is all about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And you literally said, "I think I'm going to launch a magazine and I'm going to do it in 4 weeks." Who does that? You apparently did that. And here we are, fast forward in 2024, and your magazine is very, very successful. It's actually how I found you, as I was looking for role models and people in our world that are gray and doing amazing things. And there you were. So that's where you've been. Where do you want to go? And what inspires you or motivates you at this time?
Oh my gosh, it's all the women I'm getting to meet. All the women that are sharing their stories. And I mean, they're honoring me by sharing their stories and
Mhm.
letting me share them with the world. Because, like you said, they're ordinary women that, like, may have started off with a hair color choice. And what I think people don't realize is that it starts off as maybe just that choice to not color or to color. But
Right.
then all of a sudden, we're peeling back all these layers of
Yep.
ourselves from that one simple decision. And suddenly it becomes this whole massive thing. And we're turning into women that are now like starting new careers. We're leaving the corporate world. We're doing
Right.
just amazing things. There are women that are now never would have thought of themselves as models that have been able to turn their letting their natural
Right.
hair come into a modeling career. So they really excite me. So I love, I see traveling more. We're going to do our first live event in September out here in Colorado. I see doing more of that and actually getting to be in and seeing the people and hugging the people. I'm a big hugger. So these virtual things like this are great, but for the hugger in me, I'm like, oh, I got to meet these people in person. So that's what
I
excites me is just
love
really
this.
sharing it.
I love this. And if you, whether you're live or on replay right now listening, we'll put a link to that event in the comments down below
Thank
so
you.
that you can go check it out, because I know it's going to be a blast. I know it's going to be a blast. I'm just curious because you grew your hair out, I guess, in
Mhm.
2018. I grew my hair out in 2016. Did that change how you looked at life? once it was grown out?
Oh my gosh, totally. I mean, I didn't realize how much I had let all the spoon-fed stories that weren't my stories really affect me in my mind until I started letting my hair out. Because I kind of had to take the stance like people are not going to be necessarily receptive to it at first. They might fight me a little bit on it. So I had to like build this I don't know what I want to call it. Like I don't want to say like a shield, but like I had to build this strength of character to
Right,
know that like this is
right,
about me and not about them, and
right,
whatever they have to say doesn't necessarily isn't a reflection of who I am, but maybe
right.
more their own stuff about aging, right? And I just knew I was ready to let go of it. So yes, it completely changed my mindset. I found myself being more understanding to all the other perspectives that are out there. Um, Becoming more of sort of like my own warrior inside because all of a sudden I felt strong enough to be like, hey, what I'm doing isn't hurting you.
There you go. It's confidence,
and
right?
and I stopped being quiet. I was so hushed all the time, and Robin, you talk too much. Robin, you do this much. Robin, you repeat yourself too much. I was like, well, yeah, but maybe that repetition needs to take place so you hear it. And like right now, I think we need to hear that no matter what our age are, we're relevant, right? We are relevant regardless of our age. And so many of us
Right.
start feeling like we're not as relevant as we get older because of again those spoon-fed stories that are totally not our own stories, but we let them sneak in.
And I kind of think that we were at the forefront because if you look right now on magazine covers and in newspapers, and well, those still have newspapers. I'm not sure there's that many of them, but television, we are seeing celebrities who are saying, Pamela Sue Anderson and Jamie Lee Curtis. They are just glorious in their in the way they're showing up in the world. Whether it's gray hair, no makeup, the
Yeah.
whole thing. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. My message is always women should be defining beauty and aging on their terms. So if you want to color because that's what makes you feel beautiful, then do it. But
Do
if
it.
you are like me, I didn't want to color and I still feel beautiful and I didn't feel like I needed to have somebody tell me, oh, you'd look younger if you colored. Maybe you would, maybe, but I feel beautiful as I am. So it really is the message of embracing who you are. And I did kind of go a little bit more into the silver because I really wanted those visuals because there are all sorts of visuals for all sorts of other things.
Right,
So that's
right.
kind of why I really wanted to emphasize on that silver is a beauty option. It's not just a color option. We're
It
beautiful no matter what.
it is. It is. I've had young girls, young women come up to me and say, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm old, and it's natural." And the idea that women can do this is so empowering. Robin, how do you want to be remembered?
Um, it's funny because I don't necessarily think it's important for me to be remembered as much as is that message I'm hoping to share, which is to, embrace yourself, celebrate others, especially other women, and be inspired. And I think that's the key thing I really want people to remember is that every woman has a story. At every age we have a story. But there
Right.
is, as my friend says, Alexis, a good friend of mine says, wisdom is beautiful. And I think somewhere along the lines, sometimes we forget about that. So I love that key thing for my friend. Wisdom is beautiful. So
Wisdom is beautiful. If you are interested in following up and learning a little bit more about Robin, you can go to her website at tangledsilvermagazine.com. You can also follow her on Instagram at Tangled Silver and on Facebook at Tangled Silver Magazine. There is a theme there. One last question for you. What's
you bet.
next? What are you going to do next?
Ah, my gosh. I really want to do more traveling and bringing um, this message to worldwide audiences in person, right? Really like grouping women together where they're in a room with other women that are embracing what they want to do and you can see that you can do it and that you're never alone.
Well, I think you are the perfect person to lead that charge. I hope that you will join us by clicking on the link down below, find out more about the event, check Robin out on social and her website. Robin, thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.